Welcome to the Business Boom Podcast, powered by Boomtag Media. Each week, we are sitting down with growth-obsessed, dynamic entrepreneurs, marketing experts, and business owners who have cracked the code to explosive growth. I'm your host, Kendra Noel. Let's take things to the next level and spark your business into its boom era. Hi, welcome back for this special edition, a Boss Babe edition of the Business Boom podcast. And if I've ever met someone who defines Boss Babe, I would say it is definitely my friend Helen Edwards. Helen, welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, Kendra.
Yeah, I am so excited to dive in. And I know that there's been some really great feedback from the ladies that I've been inviting. And I think that we are just going to have a really great turnout, hopefully some really great engagement in the chat. And I welcome that. And if you are not a boss babe and you have come across this episode, I would say that there's still going to be some great stuff for you. You don't have to feel like you have to turn it off if you don't fit the boss babe category. But I haven't done an episode dedicated to the ladies, so I thought that this would be just a good time to do that. So Helen, welcome to the show. And if you would just introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name's Helen Edwards. I'm the author of Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. It's a memoir. And I'm the host of Sexy Freedom Media podcast, which started 8 years ago, and Your Morning Sauce, which started a year ago. I'm also co-owner of me and my husband's business, White Buffalo Supply, here in Wyoming.
Awesome. And we connected with each other through the Wyoming Women's Network, which has been just such an amazing place to connect with other women. And I think that they really do the thing. They don't just talk about women supporting other women. I think that's really a place where that actually happens.
Yeah, the Wyoming Women's Network is awesome. And I'm so happy that we met.
Yeah, same. So I think that knowing someone who is in that same networking group or in your space, someone you can have coffee with, who has done some of the things that you aspire to do is super important. So Helen, you were that for me when I started talking about podcasting. You're like, hey, we should have coffee, which I had already been listening to your podcast. So that was super exciting just to get that invite to sit down with you and to get some of your thoughts on podcasting, and just like you gave me some general direction. I still needed to get some help. We were talking before about this awesome podcast producer that I ended up using, but that coffee meeting for me, and then we met again right before the podcast launched. It was just like so inspiring.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm so proud of you for starting your podcast, because it really is such a great instrument for business. And also it goes into personal. I said this so many times to people. There's not enough podcasters out there. I know it feels like there's an overwhelming amount when you get into the podcasting world, but it's just like when you get in the author world, you're going to just meet an abundant amount of authors. But really, there's just not enough. Look, I always say, if there's still evil and horrible people in this world, then there's not enough good going around. So we need to keep shining our lights, and podcasting is one of those ways to do it.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your podcast and some of the things that are happening with that right now?
Yeah, so Sexy Freedom Media podcast is 8 years old, 8 years young, I should say. And I recently stepped back. I almost quit. I almost was like, I'm done. And it's just because I needed to focus on my health. And I was dealing with a lot of perimenopausal symptoms. So to all my perimenopause women, I feel you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to take care of me. And I've got just too many obligations on my plate. So it's time to just start taking off some hats. And as much as I love Sexy Freedom Media podcast, it was just something I needed a break from or just to stop altogether. So my co-host, January Liddell, she's amazing. I went to her and I said, I'm ready to just let it go. And the day we were supposed to have our last recording that I announced all over social media, she was like, I'm not letting you quit. I know you, Helen. You love this podcast. I will take it over for the rest of this year. And how about you just take a break and let's just see, how you feel in January, in the month of January. and and I was like, you know what? Okay, if you're willing to step up to the plate and handle it, then great. Well, I love her so much, but I'm still editing. So I'm still behind the scenes. And it honestly has just made me feel still connected. And I know if I needed a break from editing too, she would definitely step up for that also. But I'm still podcasting. It's just behind the scenes now. And I'm really great at editing my own show. And I've learned that through the years when I had no money. I was like, okay, I better figure out how to do this myself. So yeah, Sexy Freedom Media podcast is basically a no niche podcast. We love bringing on all types of people. I started it because I was very curious about how other people live their life, about how they got to where they are. So I guess no, I take that back. Maybe it is a little bit of a niche because it is about empowering, inspiring, and learning the stories of other people and how they made it from like nothing to something.
Yeah, I had seen the announcement that you put out beforehand, like we're getting ready to record our last episode. And we had just met for coffee, and you were cheering me on with the launch of my podcast. And I was really like, oh no, she's quitting. And I was really sad about that. And so I listened to the episode also when January said, hey, we're not quitting. You're going to step back for a minute. And I think that that's totally okay and nothing to apologize for. There's a lot of different um, industries where people have to take a sabbatical because you pour yourself into something for so long. And it's okay to take a step back and like recharge your energy.
Yeah, I realized everything is an ebb and flow. And of course, you want to evolve. Of course, you want to get to that level. But sometimes the next level means letting go of something that is not supposed to go with you to that next level. And speaking of that, Sexy Freedom LLC was my baby. That was my business that I started in 2017, I believe, in Arizona, and I invested so much money. This is the part where people are like, I'm not willing to let this go because I've invested so much money and so much time, and it will grow, it will profit. I just got to believe, I just got to try more. I got to this, I got to that. It was exhausting. And when I came out here to Wyoming, the the people or the community wasn't the same as I had in Arizona. The clientele wasn't as abundant as I had in Arizona. So I was pushing and pushing and pushing. In the meantime, I was dealing with my mother's grief, with my hysterectomy, with, all these things. Again, my health, right? And I was like, you know what? It's time to let something go. And I remember it was actually a Wyoming Women's Business Center free coaching call that I jumped on, that I had my clarity on what I should do, and it was to let go of the business. And it was also my sister Kathy. Shout out to my sister Kathy. She is my business coach. She has been my business coach for like ever. I've even told her that, and she's like, "Whoa, what?" She her and her husband retired in their 30s, and I wanted to be just like her. I was like, "How do I retire? Like, what am I doing wrong?" And she's cold. She's cold as ice. And she I love you, Kathy, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but she's just brutal, and I need that in my corner sometimes because I'm all about feelings and emotion, and and she's just like, I'm gonna tell you it straight. Business is cold sometimes, and it has no feelings, only facts, and it only speaks the language of money and numbers. And I was like, wow, I needed to hear that. So I looked at everything I had invested, and at the simultaneously time, is that a word? Doesn't matter. At the same time, my sister Mitzi had me reading a book called Profit First, and it's like, but it was like between my sister Kathy, my sister Mitzi, and that book, and the Wyoming Women's Business Center, all of it was like, it's time to let it go because you need to create space for what's supposed to really bring in your millions, bring in your dreams, bring in that early retirement. And I'm telling you, when I listened, it hurt. It crushed me. I cried. I'm actually writing about it in my sequel right now. But it was one of the best decisions I made. I was able to breathe. I was able to create space. And what came into my life, it's answering everything. It everything you want is already here. Okay. It's true.
Yeah. Christina has joined in the comment and she said, yes, sometimes we have to recharge. And then she also said, we also need to invest in ourselves. I think that's so true. And one of the things that I have learned from you, Helen, there's actually a lot of things, but about being intentional with your time and your energy and protecting what you put your energy into.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think Christina wrote there, the best investment you can make is in yourself. Growth compounds, and every skill you build today pays dividends for a lifetime. Absolutely. And also, the second best investment is in your surroundings, right? In the people around you, because like we were talking about when I stepped away from the podcast, it's taking a little small village to keep it going. I've got the support, and the reason I got the support is because I was networking. That's how I met all these people. And then through networking, they became my biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleaders. I mean, Kendra, you're one of them. You know, it's the people you surround yourself. And when I moved to Wyoming, the first thing I did to make friends was find businesswomen, a group of businesswomen. I searched on Facebook, businesswomen here in Wyoming. And when I saw that there was a group once a month to go meet at, I showed up. I didn't know anybody, but I remember this is how you make a start. You make a start by choosing who you want to surround yourself with. And I've become incredible friends with all of you, thankfully. And like you said, the coffee meeting, and just keep watering those seeds. And, I invest a lot of myself, but I also invest a lot of my friendships in my networking groups.
Yeah, I can tell you're very intentional with that, and you're intentional setting aside time to go outside of even the networking group and like have a one-on-one and just really support other women. You've been a great cheerleader for me too. And like I said, having someone who had already done the thing that I was striving to do, in this case, a podcast, was super important. And then I know like surrounding yourself with people who have already done the thing is really important. So you're an author, and I think that I have even seen an upspring of authors within that same networking group. So just the fact that you were there, you're an author, you've already done it, I think has already like just perpetuated the cycle of other people being like, well, if she can write a book, I can write a book too.
Yeah, there was a meeting recently where a woman was there, a woman we know, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many authors in this group now. Oh my God," in a really negative tone. And I was like, "Aren't you writing a book?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, how's it going?" And let me tell you, she lit up. She lit up when she started talking about her book. And I said, it doesn't matter how many authors, we could all have a book in here. You can't be thrown off by that. Write your book. There's readers that are waiting for your exact book. And that's one of the things. And, I know it's an inside job, it's a mindset thing, but sometimes you don't got the time to preach or try to fix somebody. All you got is that moment to say, tell me about your project. Let me know who you are, and my mom used to always say, treat people how you want to be treated, and that's always stuck with me. And sometimes I'm not treated the same, and that's when I'm all bye. I don't mess with that. I mess with people who treat me like I treat them, with respect, value, appreciation.
Yeah. Yes, that's a total boss babe thing to say. Your sister's writing her first book now too, right?
Yes, Mitzi's writing from okay, here you go. It's Vows to Myself. It's called Vows to Myself, from trauma to triumph. I love you, Mitz.
And then you have the sequel to your book. You're in the midst of writing that now. And I love watching the updates on social media. So at the end, I'm going to give people a chance to know where they can find you on social media, that kind of thing. But I just love to see your updates. If you would kind of dive into that a little bit, where you are with writing your sequel and how that's all going.
What's interesting about my sister writing her book and me writing mine is I started writing mine a year and a half ago. And my sister Mitzi started writing hers last month. She's almost done. Like literally, she already hired an editor. And there was a part of me, I'm going to be full transparent. There was a part of me that was like, dude, and I even told her this. I said, I'm so jealous. Like, I'm actually really jealous. Like, I have been doing this a year and a half, and you're just like, meh, write a book. Here you go. And then we laughed about it. We can be completely honest with each other. And then I said, okay, I'm glad I'm expressing this to you because you still love me, but it's also reminding me like we all have our own pace. And if she's a fast writer and she loves to write and she's just, no hindrance, she's going for it. And one of the things that I was dealing with was writer's block. And I learned through trying to search on how to help myself. The writer's block is because I'm a perfectionist, which is true. I'm a Virgo, I'm a perfectionist, an overanalyzer. So I'm overthinking what I'm writing, and I was getting in my own way. So I hired a book coach, and I'm so happy I did. With my first book, I did not hire a book coach or anybody to help me except editors. This time I sought help because I said, I'm not taking 5 years to write. My first book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, took me 5 years to write. This time I'm a year and a half in, and this book coach, she's been amazing. And I'm a slow writer, and that's okay, but I'm writing. That's what's important. I'm writing, and it's taken me a few months, and I really believe in my heart it's going to be done this year. So yeah, it's my sequel, and she's writing her book, and I am like her biggest cheerleader. And the good thing about having already been through self-publishing is I'm like, here's all the things I wish I knew. Here's all the things I paid people for to help me with. I'm going to just tell you how it is. I'm going to give you the options. I'm going to let you know what I wish I had done.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's totally okay to it's worth the investment, right? To have someone to help you along. So you already know the direction that you're going, you're committed to that direction, and just having someone to come alongside you and help you get there, that is totally awesome. I think that there's a lot with business coaching and things like that that people are afraid to make that first investment because they're like, well, my business isn't profitable yet. uh, in anything like that, sometimes it's just worth it to just dive in with someone who you know is going to get you there faster. I'd like to highlight the comment from Daniel. He says, write that book. Every time something interesting in the business happened, my mom would say, someday I'll write a book. She ran out of time and never did. Um, that reminds me of something that I also learned from you, which was talking about how your book is like making your mark for future generations. I've heard you talk about that on your podcast a lot. Would you like to share any additional thoughts about that?
Yeah, so it's a memoir nonfiction. And my first book is all about my childhood through my 30s. And it's so interesting how much I've changed in writing my sequel because I was actually really embarrassed about my book, my older book. I was like, oh my gosh, I had so many F bombs in there. I have sex scenes. I've got the dirty, dirty, no filter, raw and real. Like it is on full blast. And every time I kind of feel embarrassed about it, that's kind of why I don't promote it a lot. It's just because I'm a little bit embarrassed about who I was. I was a notorious cheater. I was a mother who stepped out of her home. I was the girl that everybody hates on TikTok now. And now I'm completely opposite. I've rebuilt so many relationships. I've rebuilt the relationship with myself. I'm married now. So there's a lot of things that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. I'm scared to look it past me. But there was a girl recently who reached out to me through Instagram, and she asked if I would Zoom with her because she wanted to meet with me and tell me that how my book changed her life. And she had found out about my book in an Uber that somebody had recommended to her. Never met this girl, don't know who she talked to, found out about my book, read the whole thing, and said this was what she's going through in life right now. And she needed that book to help her. And I'm just like, wow. And it really made me realize, like, that's who I was. I'm so glad I wrote it when I wrote it, because I get to say I have a book that was written by version 3.5, 35. I was 35, right? And now I get to say I have a version 4.5 writing this new book. And then maybe future Helen will write version 5.5 or 6.0, which is, going to be my age. And when you have a memoir, it's so special because people get to see who you were at that time in your life. They might relate to you. Maybe it's going to be a different time in politics and religion and all that other stuff, but who you are as a human being is going to be relatable to those people in the future who read your book. And yeah, I'm making my mark. When I die, hopefully my grandchildren can say, oh my God, grandma was a baddie, so I'm hoping for that.
Oh, yeah, you crack me up, Helen. And I think that it's okay to look back and say, I'm not that person anymore, but give grace to the person you were during that time. And it just shows that we change, right? And then Adrian says, yes, write that book. And then Catherine talks about how perfectionism can be the hindrance to achieving something great. I totally agree. Okay, let's see. I'd like to pick your brain a little bit if you are okay with that. You did a lunch and learn about a year ago because it keeps popping up in my Facebook memories. The lunch and learn with Helen, which was amazing. So I kind of took some quotes that you had on the slides, and I just want to go over a few of those, pick your brain about this a little bit. So the mullet strategy. Business in the front, party in the back. I think this related to social media. Can you talk about the mullet strategy a little bit?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, when did I write it? Did I write it? Did I come up with it? Business in the front, party in the back. Oh yeah. So that would define my life. Uh, fun fact is, when I was in Phoenix, I used to create these public speaking events. And I always had one rule. After the public speaking event, I would go have drinks and party with my friends and go out dancing. And I always made it a habit of celebrating and dancing back then. I say back then because now I can barely drive at night. So it's different now. I still celebrate myself, but in different ways. I celebrate myself by going to get a massage or whatnot. But yeah, you know, I definitely have changed a lot. I'm no longer into fixing people. I don't want to fix anybody. I am learning how to just active listen to people, or what is it? The practice of active listening, and just try to understand people from where they are at in their life. And if they ask for my advice, I give them my advice. Or if I want to say my 2 cents, I blurt it out, and hopefully they are practicing active listening too. But yeah, that's business in the front. Girl, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember what I said about that.
No worries, no worries at all. I just thought
it
it was a
sounds like
really
it sounds
fun.
like the what I used to do with the doing business in the front and then going party in the back all the time.
That's okay. I think it had to do with social media. And, you're a really fun person to follow on social media. You say go the extra mile and be memorable. And then you do this sunrise and morning dance kind of thing that I have loved to watch. every time I see that you are doing that, I'm like, it just makes me smile. And just to know that you're having fun and you're not afraid to put that fun part of yourself out there on social. Because so many times when we do a business, we keep it all serious. And so I think that that goes along with the yes, you're still a business person, but you have the fun side of you as well.
Okay, so Jamie just put in there, I really found the book Let Them helpful for this. The book, it's called the Let Them Theory. What's interesting, Jamie, is I actually just started reading the Let Them Theory book by Mel Robbins this morning. And already I'm a chapter in. Already I can hear my mother talking. I literally was like, my mom could have wrote this book. Oh my God. So my mom, I'm a big fan of Mel Robbins and Marie Forleo, who wrote Everything's Figure Outable, which, by the way, I read that too. Excellent book. My mom could have wrote that book too. So I say this because my mom was my best friend. She was my coach, my spiritual coach, my everything. We did not have a great relationship until I was an adult. Okay. My mother came from a very rough life, but she always said the same type of stuff over and over to us. If we had problems, let them think whatever. Let them. Do they pay your bills? They don't pay your bills. My mom was very like, mind your own business and don't let people's opinions or judgments bother you. And the reason is because she was always picked on. She was beat up by my dad. We ended up in a women's shelter. We spent many nights in different homeless shelters, and people made fun of us while we were in school because, we come with holy socks. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So my mom would always say, who cares? Let them. And so it's so weird reading this book because I'm like, oh my gosh, did my mom like know about this theory, or is it something that she just knew? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's been a beautiful read to me so far because it actually, and this is the power of books. This is what I'm talking about. Mel Robbins wrote this amazing book for people to help them let go of other people's opinions and really focus on themselves. But it's more than that. Books can translate into more than that. And this is a prime example of that. This book is allowing me to remember things about my mom. It's connecting me and my mom again, who I lost to pancreatic cancer in 2022. So it's phenomenal how the universe works in divine ways, right? It's pretty powerful. But yes, to Jamie, thank you for sharing that. Because hey, hashtag aligned. I was supposed to see that today. Thank you.
Yeah, I love Mel Robbins. I listened to her podcast. I've heard her talk about the theory on the podcast. I'm not a reader. I wish I could say that I was. I will listen to audiobooks. I will listen to podcasts. I've talked about this before. I have people give me books and I just have to like say thank you and smile and know that I might crack it open, but to me like I learn different. I think I just don't retain much. Reading's never been my forte. But reading is something that I know is super important to you. And I know that you read, like, have a goal every year to read a certain amount of books. So, where are you at on that journey this year?
It's so funny because I set goals at the beginning of the year and then forget about them, forget about them midway through, and I'm like, who cares? I think that I have trained myself over the years to just do. I'm an action taker, so every now and then I just stop counting, right? And you're just like, okay, I know I'm doing this because I can feel it. So what's funny is I love books in my hands. I love books in my hands, but I'm always on the go. So I tend to actually read, quote, read audiobooks more than actual physical books. The physical books that I actually did read, let me tell you, Jen Sincero, I've read 4 of her books in hand. I love her books. I can relate to her words. Oh man. So yeah, so where am I at? I think I'm at like 15 to 20 books right now. I don't even know if that's a lot. I feel like it's not, but whatever. It's working for me.
In my mind, that's a lot. So Christina says reading is definitely my recharge. So I know a lot of people get, good downtime from reading books. I wish that that was the case for me, but it's just not. And that's okay. Excuse me. All right, let's talk about supporting other women a little bit. And one of the things that you taught in the Lunch and Learn that I referred back to a little bit ago was don't gatekeep your network. Refer, 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 and like be very intentional about how you do those referrals. Let's talk about that more and how we can be intentional referring women.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so here's the thing. Women, I'm a woman. I love being a woman. But growing up, women were like really mean to me. And I was that girl who was like, only guys are my friends. I only get along with men, right? It was my mom who was just like, women, surround yourself with women because women are powerful. And I really believe that my first actual vision of and view on that was when we ended up in the battered women's home. I remember they were all sitting in a circle and they were sharing their life, um, how they escaped their men. And I remember and I'm going to share this because it's deep. There was a woman there who had burns on her face. She was lit on fire by her husband and she escaped. And I remember just seeing my mom hug those women. She didn't know those women. She was just like, I'm here for you. I love you. Like, if you need me, I'm here. Like, this is the address I'll be at if I leave this place. At the time, there were no cell phones. And I think that really made a mark on my life from that point on, that there's some kind of energy. You can call it magical, you can call it strength. I really think it's bigger than that all women feel with one another. And we should be able to be safe with one another and go to one another. And like does attract like, right? So that was my first vision of seeing women come together and network, not necessarily through business, but to help and protect one another. And that translated into everything in my life from that point on. I have 4 sisters and I had a younger brother. So with my sisters, we are all different types. Like I said, I got my sister Kathy's very cold when it comes to business, but she's also very giving. She's a full-blown Christian. We bumped heads for a very long time. I'm not a Christian, and we just would just attack each other growing up, right? And was my mom who was always like, I don't care if you guys are different with politics, if you're different with religion, I do not care. You are sisters and you need to be there for one another. And it was my mom who like instilled that with us. And to this day, we all have different political views. We all have different spiritual views. We all even sometimes have different business views, but we are there for one another. They are my ride or dies first. And because of that, I gravitate towards women. I feel safe amongst women. I want to get to know other women, but I'm also very protective. I'm also very protective because I'm at a different level. Um, I want to gravitate towards women who want to grow, who you don't have to have, you don't got to be perfect, but just show me you're willing to grow. Show me you're willing to learn, be open minded. And then also, like you said, networking. I don't gatekeep nothing. And the reason I don't is because I've seen too many people die in my life. So I know life's not promised, right? I know you can get, horrendously diagnosed with something tomorrow. Business isn't going to matter then. Why gatekeep? It's abundance is going to flow from within. It's going to start there. We're always like, oh, I want to attract abundance. I want to attract prosperity. Everything you want is already here. It's inside and it starts with you. So I give what I can. Um, I help when I can. And I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me, I think there's a part of all of us who get catty, who get jealous, who go back into that mindset of lack. We all have it. It's there. It's okay. It's all right to acknowledge it. It's just the bigger voice in you's got to train yourself to get over that and to say, I'm going to share. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to share, you know? So, yeah. And let me tell you, abundance and prosperity is in my life now. And I know it with all my heart. It's because it started within and I started putting it out there from within, from me, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, Jamie says we should all be able to empower each other, and then other women can be your biggest supporters, is what Catherine says. Currently, all of my customers are women. I did not try to attract that or do that on purpose. I have had men clients, they're typically short lived for whatever reason. But the women are my best supporters and they stick with me the longest. And I mean, I have one now that I've been serving for 2 years, one that I've been had for like 4 years. And so I don't know, there's definitely something to that when you said like attracts like. And, you know, I think that we have to do what we can to support the women in our lives. I listened to a podcast this morning. It was Jenna Kutcher, and she had a special guest on there who was talking about how women have extra barriers that men don't have. And so when you're another woman, a woman in business or a boss babe or whatever we're going to call that, you understand the challenge that that woman had to get where she is. And so that makes you automatically want to support her and root for her. And I love that you just embody that really well with what you do.
Yeah, thank you. I think that men are important too. Don't get me wrong. My son, I have a son. He's 25. He'll be 26 soon. And I did everything I can to help him and prepare him for adulthood when he was a kid, to be honest. And I want to share this story because I mentioned earlier about my book and how I was, you know, this woman that I don't approve of now. Uh, I did I did choose to leave my family when I was going through my divorce, and I chose to let my husband have full custody. And everybody has their reasons. I had a really great reason. My ex-husband, was um, not a good husband, but he was an excellent father. So there was no way I was going to drag my son out on the streets. But let me tell you what I did do. I made sure that when I taught him things, I was never good at academics, never. I was always the ditcher in school. I hated school. I was that kid, the one who hated school, right? Dropped out of school, ended up going back. But for my son, although I wasn't really good at helping him with his homework, I was like, listen, let me teach you the ways of the world that you're really going to face. So I took him to Tony Robbins when he was 12, and I snuck him to the VIP section. And I remember every single adult there was like, I had, I wish my parents would have exposed me to this stuff when I was younger. I taught him about emotional control, how to learn about your emotions, hormones. I taught him about investing when he was young. I was, trying to teach him all the things that I wished I had knew that I didn't learn in school. So I really believe, like, yes, our men, they should know too. And I think when you teach the men, or you embrace the men, or talk to the men about what we are learning, they're most of them, you'll find they're open to it and they respect you, and they want to see you grow as much as they want to see themselves grow. So yeah, let's not forget it. Let's not forget about our men.
No, I totally agree. My husband, he's a great support. And we're 50-50 ownership in this business. And there's sometimes because he has, a full-time sales job, he's on the road and he's very busy with his life. And so even though he's half owner, sometimes I forget to check in with him and tell him what's going on with the business. And I'm like, sorry, honey, I think I was boss babing a little too hard. And I have to apologize for that now and then. but yeah, we definitely should not forget the men. And like I said, I have had male clients. I'm open to having male clients. It's just been a thing where women tend to be my biggest supporter.
I love that you're in business with your husband. I am too. I run all the back end stuff, and I have learned some things, let me tell you. I've learned some things that I didn't know about when I had my other business for 7 years, and I think it's because I wasn't bringing in that amount of money that I was during those 7 years. But there's something that I learned a very hard lesson about, and we all should already know this, but taxes. Let me tell you, taxes. Taxes whoop my butt. And because of that, it's allowed me to learn more about it. Learn about taxes, learn about the laws, learn about accounting and bookkeeping. And I'm still a big believer, if you don't know how to do something, hire somebody who's smarter. Delegate, right? It's part of leadership is delegating people in your business. It's why I hired somebody to help me with my book this time. I'm learning how to let go and ask for help. And that's one of the big things that I wasn't doing with my business for 7 years. And I really believe it probably wasn't doing as great as it could have financially because I was not asking for help. So good lessons there.
For sure. I want to shout out Jamie. She did put this in the comment, but I was just going to talk about her anyway. Her and her husband have this LinkedIn couple brand. So they talk about being, like the other half, and like they support each other so much in their social media. And she says, I work with my husband too. And I feel like that has made our relationship stronger. I actually had a one-on-one with her and her husband just to kind of talk about this whole concept of what it's like to be in business with your spouse, and how that can be just like either an awesome thing, or if you don't treat it right, it can kind of drive a wedge in between you.
Yeah, good point. Me and my husband, we're a good pair. We're completely opposite, but our foundation's pretty strong. And when it comes to business, he's great in the working part. I'm great in the intellectual part. Plus, I have the time to do it. And I'm also a very ambitious person. Like, if I don't know something, I will figure it out, and I will figure it out fast. I'm very resourceful. Listen, if you don't have the skill of resourcefulness, get it. Get it, get it, get it.
Yeah, resourcefulness and like bootstrapping a little bit is one thing that I learned from a podcast that we both said that we had listened to. Um, do you remember which one that was? We talked about it at lunch one day. No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But anyway, bootstrapping and just being resourceful, super important. Helen, I would love to give you a chance to let people know how they can find your book, find out more about you, where they should follow you on social media, talk about which social media platforms you're using most right now, and all of the things that they need to know so that they can get connected with you.
All right, Lynn, your comment made me laugh. Love my husband, do not want to work with him. That's awesome. Yeah, so you can find me on Hell of a Journey. It's actually written right down below in the left-hand corner. HELOF, Hell of a, and the word journey. If you just look that up on Instagram or TikTok, Adam1, you'll find me on there. Or just Google me, Helen Edwards, author of Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. I'll come right up. Yeah, so you can get my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. It is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles online, and in Wind City Books here in Wyoming. Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. That's my podcast. Check it out. Or Your Morning Sauce, which is all episodes are under 6 minutes. Yeah. um, Only thing I have in the works right now is just being happy, dancing, playing. I feel grateful that I get this life that I've built up. I'm writing my sequel. It's currently, the working title is What's Sexier Than Freedom, but we'll see if it stays there. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I really had fun.
Yeah, this has been an awesome episode. It was so great to see so many ladies joining us, engaging in the comments. So, shout out to all you other boss babes who joined us today, and anyone else who ends up watching the replay, listening to the podcast episode on Spotify or Apple Podcast or anywhere else where you would download podcasts. I am still looking for reviews, so I have a promotion going on through the end of August. If you leave a review on the Business Boom podcast and you screenshot that and send it to me, or if you're unable to leave a review and you just want to message me with your thoughts about the Business Boom podcast, I will enter you to win a t-shirt. I'm doing that drawing at the end of the month. So thank you, Helen. You have been amazing to talk to. I know that the other people who are listening have enjoyed it. Lynn says, great show. So thanks again to all of those ladies.
I just want to say one last thing is a beautiful saying in Apache. Dichi chitahi iskanekapichi. Dichi gojo deles anagotija. I said, beautiful Tuesday. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
That's it for this week's Business Boom podcast. You've got the spark. Now go light up your business with what you have learned. If you like what you heard today, hit that subscribe button, drop us a review, or tell a fellow entrepreneur about the show. Keep pushing, keep growing, and catch us next week for more booming business strategies.